Hey, great big world out there. How are you doing? Happy Saturday. I hope everybody had a wonderful, exciting week. Yay. Okay, I did. And for those of us who did not have such an excellent week, for any reason that you have encountered any lows or any disappointments, whatever, just be thankful that you are still here in the land of the living and just give it to God. That's all we can do. Be grateful that you have actually made it another week and you're able to have a testimony behind that. So we're going to be stepping into another week, leaving these issues behind, okay? Okay. With that being said, I want to leave you with, I'll never forget I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, DJ/Chef Steve. Well, that's what I call him. Shout out to Steve O. Parker. However, we were just in a conversation and I was just talking about things that are going on, how things are not my way, etc., etc. And he came and he told me, he said, Shavonna, you cannot dwell on that. You can't dwell on what happens and stay in that place for a long period of time. Because once these 24 hours in this one day end, you got to get ready for tomorrow stuff. And you can't carry that over into tomorrow. And that's the clean version of it, right? But it made so much sense what he said. And I just truly appreciate just that word of knowledge because it has helped me throughout my everyday journey. Okay? So thank you, Steve. Well, today we have an awesome show. I hope you guys are excited. But before I get into all the awesome information I'm going to be informing you with and leaving you with all the contact information, etc., I do want to give out some reflections and make a couple announcements. First off, happy May, happy Mental Health Awareness Month. We ended our April with a bang, even though we had a couple federal government deadlines, we still ended with a powwow, and I'm super excited about that. So I want to say thank you to Ambi Riley, owner of Osha Joy's Cosmetics Company, and I also want to send a special thank you out to Patience Morris, owner of Project P LLC. These two young ladies are in the hair industry and they just came and gave us a lot of great information about proper hair care, information on finding your salon home, information on skincare and just how you're supposed to be maintaining and how you're supposed to have that professionalism, even though you are in the hair industry. So I just want to say thank you to both of those young ladies who came out. If for some reason you did not catch the show, it is on my page. You can go back and look at it. We had the show with Ambi Riley on April 19th. And then we had the show with Patience Morris on April 26th. So thank you. I also want to say thank you to everyone who chimed in last week that sent me a text message or a Facebook messenger answering the questions. And if you did not tune in last week, no problem. You can always go back and watch. But the questions that I posed were, do you know your filing status? And are you aware of what tax bracket you're in? So those were the two questions that I posed, and I got a lot of feedback on it. What I was most excited about was everybody asked why. Why? And when I came back with that question, why is your status the way that it is? Do you understand that some people understood it and some was just like, well, that's what I was told to do. So not to worry about that. Anointed Accounting will be giving out more information on that, as well as also hosting classes about that. So stay tuned for that information that's coming really soon. Also, I want to say thank you to the people that reached out and said, hey, I didn't want to do this on social media. I'd rather talk to you one-on-one. Can you give me some information about it? Because I feel like it's a never-ending cycle, and I feel like I'm always in trouble. So it takes a lot to admit that and then come to someone and acknowledge that. So big ups to that. I really, truly appreciate that. Because this is May, yay, I want to acknowledge those who are celebrating birthdays. So happy birthday to any and everyone who's having a birthday in the month of May. Also want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Even if you did not physically birth a child, happy Mother's Day, because you are an aunt, you are a godparent, you're somebody's role model, motivation, big sister, little sister that acts as the mom, all of that and above. So I tilt my hat to all of you. So happy Mother's Day. And I don't want to forget, we are celebrating Memorial Day, the last Monday of this month. We do not want to forget about the men and women who lost their lives in service in the U.S. military. So we're going to be giving out some informations and some salutes as we go by each Saturday. So just wanted to say that. And last but not least, this is also prom and graduation season. So to the parents, congratulations. But to the actual students that went to school, gave your parents smack, HE double hockey sticks, passed all the tests, cried, did homework, all of the etc. Congratulations. Like, you are embarking on a new journey. Please remember to always, always, always keep God first. No matter how hard it gets on your new journey, never give up. No matter how hard it gets, never give up. You stay the course, because this is a journey. And if it was easy, you would not appreciate it. You would not want it. You would not cherish it, and you would not put your best foot forth. So my hat is off to you. And last but not least, keep your eye on the prize, because you win. Look at where you are now. You passed 12 grades to get to this new journey. So you win. So just keep winning. And I see a lot of people always chime in. Thank you so much for the phone calls. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the text messages. You just don't know what that does to me and to Anointed Accounting. We so appreciate that. We would also like, if you can, like, love, comment, share this content, give feedback. Like, we listen to your feedback. It is so important. And we want you to be involved, because we're involved, and we want you to know that we're there to help you. So yes, want to send a shout out to Benita. Hey sister, I love you. Thank you for watching and chiming in. But I know y'all ready for all this excitement that I got. Now, I had to go and I had to do some extensive research, right? And you know, when you're doing research, the information that you find out, some think you're already supposed to know this. I know that's me. And then on the flip side, it's like, wow, I'm glad I waited to find this information out, because now it's so much information, I can just dive into it. Like, it's boatloads of information, right? So we are actually, of course, you all know, we're in the month of May, and May is the month to raise mental health awareness. That is so big. And how it came about, it's an annual observation held in May, focused on raising awareness about mental health, reducing the stigma, and promoting support for individuals that are affected by mental health conditions. And I know sometimes people don't take that seriously, or it's an embarrassment. You don't want to open up and let people know that you suffer from this or you suffer from that. And sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. But let me give you a little history on it, and let's try to break that cycle, because that's what we're here to do. Some may say, well, Shavonna, how does this even tie into finances? You're going to find that out. Just keep listening. So, up on my research, I was at the Mental Health America website, of course, several of them, and I realized and I understood that the goals were to improve attitude towards mental illness and people living with mental illness conditions. They wanted to improve services for people with mental conditions, and they wanted to work for the prevention of mental illnesses and the promotion of mental health. Now, that's a lot that an organization wants to do, because when you talk about mental illness, of course, that deals with the mind. You know, I used to always hear my mom say, Lord, please don't take my mind. Please don't take my mind. And the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And we also want to be alert, and we want to be aware. We want to know what's going on around us and what is surrounding us. And sometimes that plays a factor on the mind, especially if you have a lot going on. The term is life be lifing. And with life lifing, there is so much that the mind could snap instantaneously just like that. So the history behind this is that the organization's roots started back in 1908, right? It was founded by Clifford Beers, who had personal experience with mental health, as the Connecticut Society for Mental Hygiene. The committee was the predecessor to the National Mental Health Association, which later became Mental Health America on November 16th, 2006. That's 98 years later. Let's put a pin in that and stop. 98 years later. Can you imagine how many individuals were going through mental health illnesses and was not aware of how to take care of it, not aware of how to be proactive about it, not even knowing how to deal with it? It took 98 years. And it took for a gentleman, Clifford Beers, to go through this cycle, to give us the information, to raise awareness. Now, let me give you some information about Clifford. In 1908, he published A Mind That Found Itself. I'm looking for that book because I really want to read this book. It's a book based on his personal experience of admissions to 3 mental hospitals. This gentleman was in 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 mental hospitals. And he was capable enough to write a book to raise awareness on mental health. And it talks about him because he was in these hospitals. That says so much. Now, let's get back to him. The National Mental Health Act was signed into law by President Harry S. Truman July 3rd, 1946. Wow, is all I can say. Like, I'm so glad that someone signed that into an act, because it is bigger than what we know, than what we think. Mental health is, it's just so much. I just got so much to tell you all. Moving on, Mental Health America then was the National Association for Mental Health. It was established in May 1949, making May the month to raise awareness. So from 1908 to 1949 is 41 more years that they had to wait for an act to be enacted. That's a long time. Now in 1971, Mental Health America produced and distributed the film Only Human, which aired on more than 150 television stations to improve the public's understanding of mental health and public acceptance of persons with mental illnesses. Wow. You know, I think that movie should be aired now more, especially since we're in the month of May and it's mental health awareness. I think that if it isn't aired, we as the people need to go back and sit and look at that movie, and you just never know what it may do to you and what it may, how it may touch you, because it's so important, because it hits home. It could be you, it could be someone close to you, it could be the neighbor next door, just anyone. So I just really think that that's important. So let's talk about mental health some more, right? Mental health encompasses a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It is also crucial to the way that we think, the way that we feel, and the way that we act. Now, I knew it had something to do with how we feel, but how we act and how we think, we're talking about 3 different actions here. That's a lot. That is so much to consider, and I'm going to break all of that down for you. But let's put a pin in it. We have a question, and the question is, if you have graduates considering the accounting industry, please feel free to reach out and ask questions. Yes, please do so. Also, if you have graduates that are trying to go into psychology, mental health, reach out to us. We have some phenomenal people to put you in tune with. You don't have to do this by yourself. And that's what I'm glad of. But back to it affecting how we think and how we act and feel. It affects how we cope with life, how we handle stress, and how we relate to others and make choices. That's a lot going on up here in your mind. Like, I got to be focused on how I'm thinking, how I'm acting, how I'm feeling. I got to deal with life. I got to handle stress. I got to worry about others. Hopefully, I'm not making someone else uncomfortable. Hopefully, I'm conveying the message the way that it's supposed to be instead of coming off another way. Like, it's so many choices that you have to deal with when you're talking about mental health. And wow, this is so essential. However, it's about having a position and the ability to manage life challenges while maintaining a sense of your well-being. Like, this is so serious, and I hope you all are just taking mental notes, because if someone can take the opportunity to write a book to talk about the ins and out of 3 mental institutions, and a film can be released talking about mental health awareness, I think we need to take this more seriously than what we're doing, because this is big. Because when that mind leaves you, that's it. That's it. Like, you can watch any show, whether it's The Resident, ER, whatever. When something is going on with the brain or the mind, when all of that shuts down, you can't do anything else. And the physicians will tell you that. So we have to take this more seriously than what we're taking it. Now, let's see how this ties into finances, because I know everyone is wondering, we know about this. We know about this. How does this impact my finances? Okay, I'm going to tell you. Well, financial stress can be attributed to mental health and vice versa. Let me explain. When you're under stress and you're dealing with something, you go through anxiety and depression. You have physical symptoms. There can be relationship strain, and there could be limited access to health care. Those are the 4 points that I'm going to focus on today as we talk about the effects of finances and mental health awareness. So let's talk about anxiety and depression. So when you're depressed, some people may binge watch TV, some people may eat, some people may clean extensively, some people may go spending and splurge just because they're trying to get their mind off of what's going on. And that's called impulsive spending. Did you know that impulsive spending can lead to debt? Did you know that impulsive spending, you're not using the tools to say, do I really need this? Or am I doing this to cover up how I'm feeling? Did you realize that impulsive spending, that money could have been for a bill? Hey, we got graduation and Mother's Day coming up. You done spent that money and now you can't deliver what needs to be delivered to the person that's graduating and or going on prom. So we want to be mindful about that. Also, you find it more difficult managing your finances when you're under stress. When you have so much going on, how can you manage finances? You got the mortgage, you got the rent, you got the light, you got the gas, you got phone, you got car note, car insurance. Of course, if you have kids, you have kids. God forbid if you have pets and now the pet need food. It's like everything has increased and it's on an uprise. And it's like, how do I manage? How do I find the means to be able to support everything that I have going on? Now I'm under stress. So now I'm thinking about what I can do. So now here comes depression and back to that impulsive spending. Now it's hard for me to manage because I done spent everything that I done had. Now, let's keep talking about this. Did you know that it also can reduce your motivation? Meaning, you get up on a Tuesday morning. You're super excited. You done made breakfast. You done had a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And the switch go off. And now you're not motivated anymore. That's not a good feeling, is it? Because where did that motivation go? So now you're slouched over. You're in bed. You don't want to do anything. You feel sad. The world is coming down on you. It's like, where do you turn? What do you do? That's how it plays the effect. So now what do? We get back on that hamster wheel and we start from the beginning. Now we're back to being impulsive when it comes to spending money. Now we can't manage our finances, and we can't manage our finances because we're not motivated, and we're not motivated because we're fighting a mental illness that we're scared to attack. Also, it plays a role on the ability to make sound decisions. I didn't say make decisions. I said make sound decisions. And I know I've been in that place a time or two. Whereas I'm trying to make a decision, but I'm under stress. I got so much going on. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I'm just making all sorts of decisions, not thinking about the aftermath. It almost feels like you got a plan. You write a plan out on Monday. You put it into effect on Tuesday. It don't work on Wednesday. Here you go with another plan on Thursday. Instead of you doing the research and development for the plan, instead of you sitting down having an outline about the plan, instead of you talking it over with your constituents or even a family member or a friend or someone close to you, or even writing it down, you just never know how that may help you recollect, readjust, and sit back to collect your thoughts. It also plays a part because it can impair cognitive functions, making it harder to elevate risk and make informed decisions about investments and financial matters. I said a lot right there. Let's break that down. So, the way you function, if you're not in an upbeat mood, if you're not happy, if you got so much stuff going on, you can't function. You can't move, as the youth say, to the beat, to the rhythm. You can't sway to it because your mind is just so full and it has so much going on. You have so many different thoughts and you're trying to make sense of everything that's going on. Meanwhile, you still have the day that you're in to actually focus on. That hasn't left. You're still dealing with that. It makes it harder to elevate when you're dealing with risk. Suppose you're in risk management, or suppose you have to make certain decisions. If your mind is clouded, and if you have so much that you're dealing with that you are unable to function, you won't be able to elevate and figure out what is the best way for me to go. Should I stay here or should I be here? You're not there yet because something is attacking that. And so now it feels like you're at a standstill. Of course, you can't make decisions about investments. And if you do make decisions, are you in the right mind to make the decision about your finances? Let's just say you want to invest in bubble gum. You got $10,000. You take the whole $10,000 and invest in bubble gum, and then it crashes. Did you sit back and think about that decision? Did you look into other avenues about what you can invest in? Did you see the downs and the highs when it comes to bubble gum, if that's what you want to invest in? And I'm just using that as an example. But it plays a part with your finances because you aren't in the right mind. Now, one of my favorite shows to watch is Law and Order SVU. I can watch that over and over again as if I've never watched it before. And I don't want nobody to talk while I'm watching it. I don't care if I have seen the episode. I may have missed something. But anyway, I always wanted to know why the appointed attorney says that my client has to go for an evaluation. He or she is not competent to stand trial. And I used to think it was a joke until I started my research coming into this month. And it was like, wow, this is deeper than I thought. So I had to apologize out loud to myself that this is bigger than you. This is serious. If the court of law has to put you under evaluation, then this is serious. And they can't execute a person if they are not in their right mind. They cannot try a person if they are not in their right mind. So the mind plays a part on everything that we do. Every situation and every decision that we make, especially when our finances are involved. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about the physical symptoms of financial stress and how it attacks mental health. Financially, physical symptoms can cause long-term financial stress, and it can make it hard to adjust. Because if you don't have the money, how can you go and get the help that you need? If you can't afford the insurance, how can you go get the help that you need? So it's like, what do I do? Do I suffer in silence? Do I go work another job just to pay for health coverage? Or do I search out and seek to see if there is a way that I can get help so I don't have to deal with this mentally and physically? These symptoms can be caused by headaches, sleep problems, and digestive problems. Now, when you're going through something, let's talk about me. I'm going to talk about Shavonna today. When it's a lot on my mind, I like to bury myself in work. Because if I'm working, I done put it off to the side. But it's still in the back of my mind, but it's not my primary focus. Does it mean that I'm ignoring the issue? Sometimes, absolutely. And I'm being totally honest. Sometimes I just want to ignore it for that moment and I'll deal with it later. Sometimes it causes headaches because I'm thinking about this one issue so much. I got a headache. How am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to make this client happy? How am I going to satisfy this client? How am I going to fix this? How can I fix that? And, it's funny now, but it makes so much sense, to say the least. My mom used to always tell me, Shavonna, Rome was not built in a day. You can't do it in a day. But me, I want to do it in a day. And I know that that's not possible. We're going to take a pause right there and greet our people. Hey, Aunt Tootie. Hey. Hello, the beautiful Bam. How are you? But, you can't sleep if you have so much going on. When my mind is racing, and I'm going to use April 15th as an example. Everyone knows that is a major deadline for tax preparers and accountants. You want to make sure all the extensions are out that day. You want to make sure anyone's tax return that you're submitting has been not only submitted, but accepted and transmitted. You want to make sure that the client has their copy. You want to make sure that they are aware of what sits on their tax return. It's just so much that you're dealing with. Not to mention, I still have day-to-day life. I still have family. I still have other things that I need to tend to. But right now, this is the main focus because I have to get past this. But if I'm not in my right mind or at the right mindset, I can't be proactive to the people that I'm actively trying to help. Now, when it comes to sleeping, if it's so much on that mind and right here, because it's not in the back, you're thinking about everything right here in the frontal part. So while you're there, you can't sleep because I got to figure out how I'm going to get past this. How am I going to make this work? And I know Benita is on here saying, give it to God. And you are absolutely right, Benita. We should pray and leave it alone. That is the right thing to do. But as creatures of habit, we pray about it and we worry about it. Or we don't pray about it and worry about it. Or we try to fix it by ourselves. So that causes lack of sleep because now you can't sleep. Or if you're working so much trying to meet that deadline and you're not sleeping, you're putting more harm on your body, which is causing lack of rest, which is playing with the mind. You see how this ties into your finances? So if you can't function, you can't make money. Let's talk about that. Also, before I go there, digestive. I know me, and I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm talking about Shavonna. If something is bothering me, I can't eat. I don't want to eat. I don't have the desire to eat. I'll eat when I fix this issue. I'll eat when I address what is going on. I'll eat when I know that client A, B, and C are okay. I don't even want it to digest because I don't want to intake it, because that's not helping the person that I need to help, when in all actuality, I'm the star player. But that's another story. That's why I love talking about me. Now let's see how this impacts income and employment. How mental health plays a part. I'm talking about me. And here's an example. I used to work for a company I'm not going to name. And every day it was so miserable going to this job. It was so miserable. It was affecting how I dealt with my family. It was affecting how I talked to my friends. It was affecting me as an individual. Like, I had to stop and look in the mirror and say, hey, that's not you. This is not how you act. You are so much better than this. Get it together. And it took for a good friend of mine, Lachey, to tell me, friend, God will make it uncomfortable for you until you get out there and do something better. But this is not where you're supposed to be. He's making a way for things greater to come your way. And that perked me up, because I knew that at the end of the tunnel, there was going to be some light. But from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., I was miserable. Did it impact my work? Absolutely. I was not at my best, because the only thing that I kept replaying in my mind, is it time to get off work yet? Or is it Friday? Or if I had to work on Saturday, is it Saturday at 5 o'clock? On Monday morning, I would wake up and be like, how many more minutes we got before we get to Friday at 5 o'clock? Because I'm ready to get off. Because I was just so miserable. So that's how it impacted my income and my finances, because it came a time where I couldn't go to work. I didn't want to work. And that's just not a good feeling whatsoever. But it's the stress part of it. Because now if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. You don't get paid, you can't pay rent, light, gas, nor can you buy food. Nor can you take care of the children, nor can you take care of the pets. So that's how it plays a part on it. And also, it plays a really big part on avoiding financial tasks. And what do I mean by avoiding financial tasks? You know you have something to do. You know it's due right now, right here, right then, right there. And you just avoid it at all costs. Oh, I'll get to it later. Oh, I'll do it later. And then later comes and it's like, okay, I got 3 more days. I'll do it tomorrow. And you just keep putting it off and you keep putting it off. And then the 3 days have came and left and you haven't taken care of anything. You could have washed the clothes that you were supposed to wash. You could have cleaned the kitchen. You could have ran the errands that you needed to run that you talked about. But because you're avoiding trying to spend money that you've already spent impulsively, not managing your finances, you're back to square one. So you see how it's like a domino effect. It's a circle. It all comes back to the mindset and being just aware of when something is wrong and how to handle it and what to do with it and how you're supposed to handle it with a professional, not with your friend, not with the next door neighbor, not saying that they're not professionals, but That's what people are out here working for and towards, to help you. And we need to utilize those resources, because those resources can be very, 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 very important. It's so very important. Now, let's talk about how financial stress plays a big part on mental health when it comes to relationships. Hey, Auntie Latrice, shout out to Sugar for all of the items that were created and designed by her for the guests for the month of April. If you all have not reached out to her for your tumblers, your mouse pads, t-shirts, please look her up, Sugar Design. Excellent work. Excellent work. And it lasts a long time. I can guarantee you that. I know I'm a consistent shopper. Again, I'm only talking about Shavonna. But when it comes to relationships, and again, you will most likely, if you know me and we're talking about finances, especially if you're a client, I'm going to tell you everybody in the house need a job. Even the goldfish need a job. Because the way that the economy is now, things are on a rise and it is so expensive. What used to be 59 and 49 and 69 cents is now 309 or 409. And it's like, am I really getting everything for my money? So, in a relationship, it's two people. So now you have two finances, right? Suppose both of you stop working because you're dealing with mental health. How the bill's going to get paid? How the children are going to get taken care of? How are the expenses going to be met? How do you deal with that? Does that put a strain on the relationship? Absolutely. Does it make you go out there and just get a job just so one person can be quiet because of all the nagging? Possibly. But do you really want to go get a job that you're not going to do your best at and potentially get reprimanded because now you're bringing an attitude to the workplace and you're making the environment hostile because of your attitude and your demeanor, when in all actuality, you're just under stress and you don't know how to deal with it. It could be you on the inside. It could be something that's bothering you so bad that you are so unaware of what's bothering you that you don't know how to tackle it. So because you don't know how to tackle it, you take it out on who's next to you. And that's the person you're in a relationship with. Or if you're at work, it's that person you're working with. Because we also learned that when you're at work, that's where you spend most of your time, at work. That becomes your family. That's your work family. So now you're lashing out at other people when there's help out here for that. And so what do we do? What do Shavonna do? I don't go spending like that, but I'll binge watch TV, or I'll cry, or depending on how bad it is, I'll call Benita. Well, bad or good, I'm going to call Benita. Either way, it don't matter. and that's another thing that we have to be aware of when we're talking about mental health. It's so easy for us to pick up the phone and call someone like Benita or Lachey or Shamil or Ambi. Those are my go-tos, right? But at the time of the phone call, we're not even taking into consideration what they're going through because of what we're going through. And we can address what they're going through because we're so engulfed with what we got going on that it matters to us. But at that moment, it does not matter because we got something to let off our chest. And is that good? Not all the time. Not at all. So in that relationship because you have a relationship with your friend. You have a relationship with your family members. You have a relationship with your neighbors. You have a relationship with the person you're in a relationship with. And because this circle is so close to you, you lash out. And here's the caveat to that. If they turn around and lash out on you, you're going to get an attitude. Or you're going to have a grudge and you are going to be so mad and you're not even going to understand why at that moment. But it's because we're dealing with mental health and finances. When our finances are low, it's hard for us to be in that happy space. Some of us, me, I could be happy with money and without money. Because as my mom used to always tell me, you weren't born rich. I used to pick and chop cotton. So you're going to have to make do with what you have to make do with. And that's a true statement. Lachey once told me, friend, I ain't never had $1 million before. I don't know how I even act with $1 million. So, I don't know, friend. But in a sense, it just humbles you because if I have $1 now and I know how to cherish that dollar, when I get that $1 million, I'm going to know how to manage that $1 million. So it is very, very, very important that we reach out to these entities and organizations that are out here to help with mental health awareness. We have to, because it puts a strain on all of us. We're going to put a pause in it and say hello to our viewers. Hello, Shayna. How are you? We also have a comment that says, I've learned how important it is to regularly manage your mental finances and your mental well-being. Being in that state of happiness and learning how to manage day to day and everything that's stirring in this pot will help you along the way. As I stated earlier, my friend DJ/Chef, that's what I call him, said you can't worry about and dwell on what you're in for so long. Deal with it and let it go and move on, because here comes tomorrow. The Bible also tells us tomorrow has its troubles of its own. So we have to know how to balance and come together and work this out so our finances can be okay, so our mental health can be okay, so our well-being can be okay, so we can make better sound decisions. We have to be in that healthy space. Hey, Miss Keena. So that's how it affects relationships, mental health, and finances. Another way it affects relationships, let's assume that I loaned you $50 and I told you don't worry about paying me back. However, I'm in a bind and I need that $50. Oh, that's something else added to the plate. Now I'm at you about $50. That's putting a strain on our relationship, because what if you don't have it? Plus, I told you pay it back whenever. Now I'm saying something different. So it's all over the place. It's just, we have to do better with that and learning how to cope when we're under stress and when we're dealing with mental health illnesses. No one's here to judge you. No one's here to criticize you. We are here to help you. We want to lay the foundation to let you know that it's okay if you suffer from this, if you suffer from that, if you have this. That doesn't determine who you are as a person. And I can't judge you because I have things going on myself. So I cannot be in a place to judge you when I'm not 100%. So that's why it is so important with mental health, illnesses, and finances. You need your mentalness to have the finances, because if your mental part ain't there, who is going to allow you to work? Who is going to pay you? If somebody is paying you and you not doing no work, call me right now at 312-837-7219. I would like to put in my application right now, and I can start as soon as the podcast is over. How about that? Now, lastly, I said I have 4 points. I'm not going to keep you all that long today. Thank you for being patient with me. Hey, Miss Valentine, how you doing? Last but not least, let's talk about how there is limited access to healthcare and addressing the connection. I know I've been back and forth saying breaking the cycle, but before we break the cycle, we have to make the connections. And if we're unable to make the connections, we have to reach out to those who can make those connections for us, so we can be better at what we're doing and what we're delivering. And I spoke about insurance a few minutes ago. Financial hardship can restrict access to necessary mental health services, further hindering recovery. So assuming that you have insurance and your insurance may only pay 50, 60, 70% of what needs to be taken care of, and you need that other percentage, but you don't have the money, what do? Do you sell dinners? Do you sell icy cups and freeze pops like we used to when we were adolescents, running out during the summertime? Do you get another job? But how? When whatever's you have going on, it won't allow you to do that. So what do? You go for the procedure that you had, and you figure out remedies on how to cure and be recovered, because you don't have the money or the insurance for the recovery. So now you're under more stress. So you're adding stress to the stress that you already have that's playing with the mentalness. Now you don't know what to do. Now you don't know how to act. And now you're lashing out again, because now something else has been added to your plate. When we're dealing with stuff like that, we need to learn and find ways to prioritize how we're going to move forward. How are we going to deal with mental health? And I know a lot of times we say you crazy and laughing and talking and playing around. We make a lot of jokes. But for those that are really dealing with something, are we giving them information and people who to talk to? Are we sending them links for privacy so they can reach out and just say, hey, I need some type of help. I don't know what's going on. I done tried this. I done tried that. But now it's affecting my finances. It's affecting my relationship. It's affecting my motivation. It's affecting how I be productive at work. It's affecting me as an individual. So now you have all of these effects, but you got to know how to address it. And you got to learn how to reach out to someone. Anointed Accounting has a couple people that you can reach out to and talk to. And I know some people are saying, but you do accounting. Yes, we do accounting here. But we try to tackle everything, meaning we have that network where we can send you out to people whom we trust and whom we work with. In April, I learned how massages release tension. And I learned that from Miss Lakina Young. And I learned that the consultation, just listening to someone, that'll guide you on what it is you need to do and how you need to move. Like, I don't like pressure, so you can't be doing all this to me. No, you got to rub me gently. But that does something, and it decompresses the body, and it relaxes you and put you in another space. Could massages work for some mental illnesses? Absolutely. Absolutely. I guarantee you it can. And I encourage you to please reach out to Miss Lakina Young. Developing financial literacy. If you don't know how to handle your finances, contact Anointed Accounting. Especially if you have so much other stuff going on. Again, life be lifing. Things come up all the time. You got the bills, you got the kids, you got the spouse, you got the family, you got the neighbor, you got the pet. Even the goldfish got a problem. So there you have it. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you her name, but did not give you her number. That number is 708-779-9788. Please reach out. The massages, the information, the healing, all of that works. All of it works. Because I sit sometimes when I decompress and I just do this just to calm myself down, to let loose of the day that I've had, because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And seek financial counseling, people. LTZ Healing Hands. I'm sorry I'm back and forth, but yes, it is LTZ Healing Hands. The owner is Lakina, and I'm just so used to saying Miss Kina, like everyone knows who that is and knows her information, and they don't if they haven't watched the show. So I do apologize for that. But it's LTZ Healing, Miss Lakina Young, Miss Kina, and her number is 708-779-9788. But seek financial counseling. That's very important. Because if you got so much other stuff going on and you're dealing with a lot of stresses and you're dealing with, again, we got prom and stuff coming up. We got graduation coming up. Everything. And you just don't want to deal with the finances at that moment. Make that phone call. Anointed Accounting. 312-837-7219. We have a question. Hi, Miss Lomax. Who to contact for power of attorney? Power of attorney of what? That can be for medical. That could be for finances. So many power of attorneys out there. And what aspect are you talking about? So, I know we covered a lot today. Just to recap, we talked about anxiety and depression and how it affects the mental health. We talked about physical symptoms. We talked about the relationship strains, and we talked about limited access and addressing the connection between mental health awareness and finances. We're going to be talking about mental health all month this month. We got some exciting guests coming on this month. We want you to stay tuned and check us out for that. Miss Lomax, please reach out to me at 312-837-7219. Or if you can send me a message on Facebook Messenger with your number, I will give you a call and I can give you some information on that if that's okay with you. So see, this is the interaction that Anointed Accounting loves to do. And that's what we're here for. We love to give you a POA. And yes, all people know that POA stands for power of attorney. But in this aspect, I'm speaking of POA, meaning plan of action. So we are going to have a plan of action for you. We're going to be bringing up different issues every Saturday. You have any questions, please shoot those questions to me. Post them on the Anointed Accounting page. Post them on my page. We will answer these questions. We will call you. We will get in touch with you. We will put you in touch with the right individuals that you need to be in touch with. I have some phenomenal people that I'm networking with. And just to give a little feedback, we have Kenitra Williams, a licensed psychologist. We have Amber, and I'm going to say Boyd. Yes, because that's what I know. Into psychology. We got some awesome guests. We got McClinton Porter. We got some awesome guests that we can put you in tune with, who has the know-it-all and the resources in this area to assist you. So please share, like, comment, give feedback. I want the interaction. That's what me and my team is here for. We're here for that. See, you even got a massage out of this today. Give Miss Young a call. She is readily and awaiting for you. So awesome. And she know how to sing too. Shh. But no, thank you all for tuning in. I will have more information next week on the 10th. I would like for you all to have a successful week. Have an excellent week. Keep God first. And remember, if you have any questions or concerns, that website is www.ANOINTEDACCOUNTING.com. I am on all social media platforms under Anointed Accounting, which is ANOINTEDACCOUNTING. And my telephone number is 312-837-7219. I want to thank you for spending your 61 minutes with me today. I totally appreciate it. We will be posting information on our pages. Whatever information is not posted, you have all of my contact information. Please reach out to me. Please talk to someone, touch someone that you know that is dealing with something and going through mental health awareness. Let them know that they are not alone. They do not have to tackle this by themselves. Reach out to us. That's what we are here for. Anointed Accounting appreciates you all. Thank everyone for tuning in. I love you guys, and Lord's will, I will see you all next Saturday at 3:15 sharp. Have a great one. Toodles.